I thought I knew my muscle mass and I thought I knew my VO2, and I was wrong. What I found out changed everything about how I'm training and my nutrition. I'm at Live Lean RX today to have 3 tests done. I'm getting a DEXA scan to measure my muscle mass and body composition, an RMR test to measure my metabolism, and a VO2 test to test my cardiovascular fitness. I'm 40, I've been working out pretty much my whole life, so I am excited to see where I am today. Hi!
How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Deanna, and she owns Live Lean RX here in Colorado Springs, and she is gonna run me through all 3 tests today. So do you wanna tell me and tell our viewers what we're gonna go through and what's involved in the DEXA, the RMR, and the VO2?
Sure. What we're going to do, we're going to start out with the DEXA. We're going to be looking at the total body composition, your lean mass, fat mass, and bone mass, all 3 down to 1/10 of a pound. It's the gold standard in body composition measurement. Yeah. Next, we're going to be looking at your resting metabolic rate. It's going to tell us exactly how many calories your body burns at rest.
I'm so interested in this.
Perfect for setting goals and establishing those.
Yep.
Finally, we'll be doing your VO2 Max test, which is going to be great to tell us a little bit about your cardiovascular health, but it's also super in establishing true workout zones for your body instead of some calculation. They'll tell you what your true zone 2, zone 3, 4, 5 are. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today.
Well, I am psyched. I can't wait for this data. We're gonna start with the DEXA first, so let's go.
All right, come on in here.
Run me through everything we're doing for the DEXA today.
Have you ever had a DEXA?
I have not. I'm so excited. How long does it take?
It'll take about 5 minutes or so, 5-6 minutes.
Anything in particular that we're supposed to wear? I mean, I'm going to be running soon, so I'm in like workout clothes. Anything that they should wear or shouldn't wear?
I always say wear something comfortable that you'd be comfortable laying in. You want to avoid anything with a bunch of bling, jeans with bling or anything like that.
Okay.
You wouldn't wear big buckles or have anything in pockets, but I always have people remove that before they start, so.
Okay, easy. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get started.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is you're going to be laying on this table on your back with your head at this end. Try to be as centered as you can there. Excellent. And I'll have my hand back here. Go ahead and lay your head back. Okay, go ahead and move down towards your feet for me. Keep down a little bit more. Okay, there you go. And while I kind of have you captive, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the DEXA scan. The DEXA technology isn't actually new technology. It's been around since the late 80s, and it's still the same machine technology that we see today for that exact diagnostic test. So it's had a history of being very accurate, safe, and effective for some time. In the early 2000s, the technology was enhanced to do what we're doing today, which is advanced body composition scanning. Meaning we can look at not just your bone mass, but your fat mass and lean mass, all 3, down to 1/10 of a pound. First, with fat mass, what we're doing is we're looking throughout your body, looking at where it's located. And one of the more interesting things we look at with fat mass is visceral fat. And in this area, you have 2 types of fat. You have that subcutaneous fat that we have right below our skin surface and can poke and pinch. Then we also have what's called visceral fat around our organs. And while we can't see it, we know when we have high levels of it, it can make us more prone to developing certain diseases. So this will be able to identify that region, determine if you have any visceral fat, and if so, establish a potential risk for developing those diseases based on what it finds. Secondly, we'll be looking throughout your body at lean mass, also down to 1/10 of a pound. One of the more interesting things we look at with lean mass is symmetry. We'll be able to compare right arm to left arm, which is interesting. And we'll also be able to compare right leg to left leg. And this is important because if you do have any significant lean mass difference between one leg and the other, it could actually make you more prone to imbalance issues down the line, or it could lead to pain in the joints. And DEXAs are great tools to monitor lean mass changes over time as well. And then last but not least, we'll be looking at your bone mass and how it compares to the average you on a bone mineral density format. All right, Amy, well, you're all set. Come over here to the chair and go over your results with you.
And before we get to my results, here's a reminder to hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel and helps me keep making content like this for you, and I appreciate each and every one of you out there. Now for the results. Okay. All right, let's see.
All right, perfect. Your total lean is 96.5 pounds. Now that's anywhere from 75 to 90% muscle. The rest is the blood in your system, your organs, things like that. And then you have 5.4 pounds of bone mass.
Okay.
Next, we have your visceral fat. So Right here, we have fat mass in pounds for that region.
Okay.
And we convert that, which yours is 0.01, to cubic inch volume of 0.38 cubic inches. And based on your visceral fat, you are way down here in this ideal healthy.
Okay.
You could be up to 52 cubic inches, and
wow.
you're sitting at 0.38. So.
Okay. Well, I feel I'm very happy about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, visceral fat, that's, you know, a lot of times it's sort of this like silent thing that's happening that we don't know. So I love that you can get a DEXA and really get a picture of what's happening there.
That's right. Next, we have your bone density here.
Okay.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't a diagnostic look at your bones. That would be looking at your 2 femur heads in your lower spine there.
Okay.
This is instead looking at your entire skeletal system and giving us an indication of bone health. And we can see, looking at this chart, this turquoise band right here represents the average bone density of women at any given age.
Okay.
The line down the middle is the 50th percentile there.
Okay.
And this dot is you, so you can see that it indicates your bone mass is above average when it comes to comparing you to other women your age.
I'm happy, but the competitor in me wants to be in the green, but I'm happy.
Exactly. I know, but that's great to continue doing what you're doing. Now, right here we have your lean mass, your muscle mass comparison when we talked about symmetry, right side, left side for arms and legs.
Okay.
So you can see on your arms, you have about a ½ pound more lean mass on your left arm than right.
Great. I'm left-handed. So is that typical then?
You know, that's interesting. I will find it doesn't always correlate with the dominant arm.
Huh. Okay.
I'd say a little over half the time for sure, but there are times when, depending on an injury, the sport they do, the type of job they do, those things can impact the lean mass in the non-dominant arm too. But yeah, that tracks with what you're saying there.
Okay.
And then on your legs, you have a little over ½ pound more lean mass on your right leg than your left.
Makes sense. So I tore my meniscus in my left leg and was probably compensating with my right for a while, then had surgery. So like, I just felt like I've been building this leg back for forever, and now I can see that.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference. Those injuries definitely. I mean, you can see with your fat mass, pretty spot on, no difference at all.
Okay.
And then your last slide here gives us kind of a summary of what went down today. Goes down by date each time you scan.
Okay, so you can compare, contrast each time.
Yeah, and I especially like this summary because it really breaks it down. Like you might see on our first slide, oh, you've lost some fat, you've gained some lean, fantastic. This helps us to drill down a little bit by region into trunk, legs, or arms to kind of see where exactly in your body those changes happen.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. How often do you recommend, if people do want to come back? Is it 6 months? Is there some protocol?
Yeah, I say tends to be 3 to 4 months for people that kind of locking in their nutrition, setting up a regimen to work out and that type of thing.
Cool.
They really want to check their progress 3 to 4 months down the line.
It's like good feedback.
It's very good feedback. And depending on people that take GLP-1s or things like that, that's definitely a good idea.
We need to check that bone mass, muscle mass.
Exactly. But then there are people who come in, they just want a baseline, kind of see where they are. They're really familiar with their bodies. They've been working out a long time. And every 6 months might work for them too.
Okay. This is so great. So great data. I mean, I'm thrilled that I was worried about bone density. You know, once you hit 40, I think that's something that's on so many people's minds. I was just curious about the difference between left and right leg. I didn't really think about my arms, so that was interesting. Just knowing bone density as we age. So we lose 3 to 8% of our muscle mass each decade after age 30. What a great time to check in.
That's right, yeah.
What's the parameters to get a DEXA scan?
So you need to be 20 years old, and then on up from there you can...
20 and up. And you don't have to be an athlete?
You don't have to be an athlete. It's useful for anybody. Often people want to wait until they get a little fitter to come in and get a DEXA scan, which I totally understand, but if I had $1 for every time someone says, I wish I came in when I first started my journey,
to compare, yes. Yeah.
It's a bold step to come in at the base and see where you are and then kind of track change from there. It gives you all the opportunity to see major change and be encouraged by what you're doing.
Okay, the DEXA scan told me what I have, and now the RMR test is about to tell me what I need, how much fuel my body needs to function, and that's really the foundation of everything, so we're going to get to it. Okay, time for RMR. Can you give me a rundown of what the test is, what we're going to do today?
Yeah.
And then we're going to go.
Excellent question. So what you're going to do is you're going to be sitting in this chair.
Okay, cozy.
We're going to be measuring your breathing. For once the test officially gets going, it'll be a 12 to 13 minute test. Okay. It's going to be measuring how many calories your body consumes at complete rest.
Cool.
It's going to give you some great information, kind of from there, establish what you're eating should be, will be based on your goals.
Yeah, fantastic. So there's RMR, our resting metabolic rate, and then there's BMR. And as a dietitian, I use BMR. I calculate clients' BMR all the time. So I want to just briefly share the difference between the two. We're doing the RMR test here today, which is super scientific. For BMR, as a dietitian, I'm using a formula, and BMR is our basal metabolic rate. It's the calories we need, I say just to keep the lights on, but literally just to pump blood, for our lungs to function, those sorts of things. That's our baseline calories, whereas RMR factors in a few other things, some of our natural movement, eating. So I am super psyched to see the results of this and then compare that to just like my good old formulas that I use in general practice.
Excellent idea. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So shall I sit?
Yeah, go ahead and have a seat right there. Okay. I'm just going to confirm a little bit of the details I have for you, make sure we have everything tied in from your DEXA. So question I have for you, Amy, when we talk about activity level throughout the day, what would you say your activity level is? Just work, excluding exercise.
What levels are we talking? Sedentary, light
sedentary, moderately active, active.
Just work is sedentary.
Okay,
sadly.
Let's go with sedentary. So once it's done calibrating, it's going to want to detect your stable breathing.
Okay.
And for that, what you'll be doing is one of the most unpleasant parts of the test is the nose plug. It's basically just putting this on your nose as comfortable. And then secondly, what you're going to do is you're going to have this mouthpiece in your mouth, the nose plugged throughout the duration of the test. Basically, you're going to be mouth breathing through this filter throughout the test. What's important during this test is that you're just sitting as relaxed as possible, just chilling out. You want to breathe as consistently and normal as possible. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and start detecting your breathing. You can go ahead and plug your nose, and we'll go ahead and put this on.
One thing I want to share with everyone is that you have to be fasting for this test.
This is correct, right?
Yeah.
At least 5 hours of fasting, 12 to 24 hours without any intense exercise. So
I'm good to go.
Yeah, everything but water. Here you go. Let's go ahead and put that in your mouth there. And it should just relax, and I can adjust this if it, there we go. Perfect. All right, Amy, so what we're going to do for the next minute, it's going to be detecting your stable breathing. Once it's done that, I'll go ahead and dim the lights for you, kind of give you some chill space on your own so you can just focus on just breathing normally and relaxed state. The test has officially begun. Keep that nice, consistent breathing just as you normally would, just nice and relaxed. Good job. Amy, mouthpiece out and your nose off.
I made some energy bites before I came this morning. So yeah,
Good for you.
Peanut butter cup energy bites. Recipe will be down in the description.
Well, let's see what you have. I always like to ask you, do you have an idea of whereabouts you thought you were?
Oh my goodness, my resting metabolic, somewhere 17 to 1800.
Well, you're pretty spot on. It shows here your metabolism, your rate is a bit faster than other women your same height and weight. So I don't often see that with women.
Oh, really? Okay, that makes me feel good.
Yeah. Now your resting metabolic rate is 1724. So if you sat in this chair and did nothing today, just to regulate body temperature, breathe, let your mind wander, you'd need 1724 calories. And then here, while this is labeled as professional activity, it might better be labeled as NEAT, non-exercise activity. It does not include exercise. This is a conservative estimation, a calculation based on this fact here, based on the sedentary designation. So it gave you about 2,100 calories a day. Again, if you were to find, hey, I actually move a lot more, that could actually be a slight deficit for you.
Yeah, interesting.
Any questions on any of this?
No, I mean, this was like the most scientific way. Yeah, it's nice confirmation as a dietitian that it was about what I thought, but it's so specific. I love this. The test, and for everybody watching, the test is not uncomfortable. It doesn't take very long. The most uncomfortable is your nose is kind of tired of being pinched after a while, but and then you're done.
Exactly.
Then you're done, and you bring a snack with you, and you're good to go. And you're fueled for doing the VO2 test, which is what we're doing.
That's right.
Now I know what I have, the muscle mass from the DEXA scan, what I need, my calories from the RMR, and now I'm going to check on my heart health, my cardiovascular fitness with the VO2 test. So I'm going to put my hair up and get ready to run on this treadmill.
Okay, so go ahead and tilt your chin back and go ahead and nod into that. Go ahead and hold that for me and spin around this way. Doing great. All right, go ahead and turn toward me. Let's double check you here. Go ahead and inhale for me and then blow out. Perfect, you did great. Go ahead and step up here. Let's go ahead and get this on you. All right, so what we're gonna be doing right now is detecting, much like we did on your RMR, just wants to detect your breathing for a little bit here, and then we'll get started. You're looking great. Nice, easy pace here. This should be a do this all day kind of a pace. Yeah, you're doing fine, Amy. You're looking great. You're on your way.
Yeah, this is awkward.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely different, isn't it? Takes a minute to just, okay, I can do that. Good job. Okay, Amy, I'm gonna give you a little more of an increase here. You're doing great. All right, Amy. You're 30 seconds into this stage. Another 30 seconds-ish. I'm gonna increase your effort again.
Okay. So is it pretty much every 30 seconds?
Every minute. So once a minute, we're gonna increase the effort, either by way of incline or by way of speed. All right, another 20-ish seconds or so. And you give your big old thumbs up there. Great work. Nicely done, Amy. Looking good. You're staying nice and centered. Your stride looks good. Feet are in a good position. Nicely done. Keep it up. Here you are, already 5 minutes in. I can hear your breathing picking up, so I know it's getting harder, but you're doing fantastic. Keep up the work. All right. I'm gonna give you just another little increase there on your incline as well. You are in Colorado after all. Gotta have a little bit of a climb. Excellent job, Amy. I hear you breathing. I know it's getting warm in your mask. Keep it up. Okay, all right, good job, Amy. Another couple minutes, or a couple seconds rather. I'm just gonna increase you a little bit, okay? Keep it up, Amy. Good job, good job, good job. Anytime, you're good, you're good. Okay, good job. Good job, Amy. Now I just got you slowed down there. Keep walking for me. Let's get you recovered. Good job. Good job, Amy. Nicely done. You're finished. Excellent effort. Way to go. Just did the hardest thing you're gonna do today.
All right, how'd I do?
First of all, you did great. Great effort on there. Great job. Your VO2 max is 35.8.
Okay.
If you look at this chart here, that puts you right in this excellent category, 35.8.
It gives me a goal because I want to get to superior.
You always want to get to superior.
Yeah.
You're always going to get as high as you can. So that's one piece of it. VO2 max is one piece of this test.
Okay.
Your heart rate, your max heart rate during the VO2 test was 167. But one thing I want to point out here on this last chart we have, the purple is giving us your total calories in fat that you burned at any given stage per minute.
Cool.
And then the total calories for carbs is reflected in yellow.
This is so good, so telling.
So you can see you actually have some really good fuel utilization at the beginning of your run, but you pretty quickly move over here. By minute 4, you're dominated by carbs and you're just burning that.
This just helps me tell my athletes, like, we need carbs as our fuel. That is our fuel source. I mean, can literally see it.
So here we can see your VO2 max heart rate was 167. Your VO2 max was 35.8.
Okay.
Okay. We saw that that puts you right here in the excellent category.
Garmin says my VO2 is 40.
Okay.
And so, interesting. According to Garmin,
You would be
I'm superior. But this is, the point is, like, this is the very specific science.
You really do want to be dialed into those heart rates. That heart rate, 126 to 139, is not going to be much of a run for you. It's probably going to be like a fast walk, maybe a slow jog.
Okay.
So you're really going to have to force yourself to stay down in that zone 2, that sub-anaerobic threshold. Now, that said, Amy, because you are used to running, in order to improve that VO2, what really improves that VO2 is this zone 5 intensive work. 1 time a week is sufficient.
I think this is data You know, we talked about it could be a runner, it could be someone who hikes
Definitely.
or walks, someone on their bike, but just to increase your heart health.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm someone who's like, give me the data and then I can use that to improve all the things. Awesome. This is so great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Okay, so now I have my 3 points of data. I have my muscle mass from DEXA and bone density. I have how many calories my body truly needs, and all about my cardiovascular health, which is definitely something I'm going to be working on. Now, before I go home and talk about what I'm going to do with this data, tell me more about Live Lean RX, what you do here, the questions that people ask before their first appointment.
Mainly we do what you did today, those 3 tests. What people ask me a lot when they come in is, do I have to be fit before I do the VO2 Max test? No, you don't. We can pick up right where you are. A lot of questions about the protocol. What do I need to do for the DEXA, the RMR, and the VO2?
Okay.
DEXA, you just want to come in kind of normally hydrated. You don't want to overhydrate or be dehydrated. Just come in normal. You want to avoid any intense exercise before or any big meals before. And you want to wear comfortable clothing. The scan can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the person. Pretty easy, as you saw.
Yep.
Secondly, with the RMR, that's probably the biggest protocol or the most inconvenient protocol people go through, as you did.
Don't eat.
Yeah, don't eat, don't drink caffeine, coffee, tea, energy drinks, nothing.
Oh my goodness.
At least 5 hours before the test.
Okay, important to call.
No intense exercise 12 to 24 hours before the test. So that's a little bit more of a sacrifice for people.
Yes, yeah. It's like when you get your labs done, you're like, oh, I can't have my coffee. But you get this incredible data, so it's worth it.
That's right. Lastly, with the VO2 Max, the protocol is just kind of similar. You don't want to have a lot to eat right before. You don't want to overeat. You don't want to have any intense workout that you've done before either, because you want to make sure you have enough energy for it, and that you don't want to have eaten and have your body's calories being and heart rate and going toward processing food, for example. You want to be able to have all that for working out.
Okay, and how long, obviously we've been filming today, so it took longer, but if someone was gonna do all 3, how long would they kind of allot for?
Yeah, so it'd be about an hour and 20 minutes to do all 3 tests back to back to back. It's called our starter pack. We start with your DEXA, we go to your RMR, and we finish with your VO2, exactly the order you did today.
Okay.
If you want to just do individual testing, a lot of people opt for that.
Okay, so you don't have to do all 3, you can do them individually, and then you can come back and retest whenever you'd like. I'll be back I'm gonna send you an email after that first zone 2 run or text and just be like, what even was that? Yeah, right. I kind of ran, I kind of jogged. I know that's the in-between.
Yeah.
But our twins who are about to turn 11, they want to run with us more now. So
nice, that might be perfect.
yes, that'll be perfect for them.
Yes.
I'm definitely gonna come back. I want to check back in on DEXA, VO2. I think RMR, that was fantastic data. Just sort of like reiterated what I've known for myself as a dietitian, but also it's the super scientific approach to it. So I love it. Well, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for having me and Devin and showing everyone just the benefits of this. I am going to drop Deanna's info in the description down below. Her website is
liveleanrx.com.
liveleanrx.com. And also, if you have questions about a DEXA, even if you're not in the Colorado Springs area, she is your go-to, your resource for any questions about the DEXA, the RMR, or the VO2. So her email will be in the link below as well. And thank you again. Now I'm gonna go and look at all my data and figure out my running plan. And if the DEXA and the nutrition kind of changes anything that I've been thinking about for myself in terms of muscle gain and turning 40 and all that stuff. You've given me so much info. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And I mean, I'll be back.
Sounds great.
That'll be video too.
Yes, exactly. All right. Okay, thanks, Amy.
Okay, I literally just got home from Live Lean RX after my testing, and now I get to do my favorite part, actually sitting down and making sense of the data. Because the numbers don't mean much unless you actually use them. So from my DEXA scan, I learned that my overall muscle mass was right where I'd hoped it would be for my age and how I train. Honestly, I was thrilled about that. And then my bone density was great, which I love, although I'm still gonna work on boosting that even more because I wanna be in the darker green zone on that one. It's just, I'm competitive. What can I say? What was interesting was seeing the small imbalances, like my right leg having slightly more muscle mass than my left leg. So going forward, I'm gonna take those tips that Deanna told me. I'm going to add a few more reps or sets to my left side to try and help even things out. Any of you fitness buffs, personal trainers, or physical therapists out there, if you have any other ideas for balancing out that muscle, drop it to me in the comments. I would love to hear it. And then to my RMR results. So my resting metabolic rate showed me roughly how many calories my body burns at rest. And honestly, as a dietitian, I was thrilled because I was pretty spot on to what I thought it would be. So that was really cool. VO2, and that test was interesting. It was just like Deanna said, it's hard for a little bit. And I kind of felt like I could have kept going at the end, but we stopped and I was definitely fine with that. This was eye-opening, especially since my good old Garmin was telling me one thing and the actual test told me something a little bit different. It's clear that I need to do more zone 2 work. Devin, my husband, has been telling me to do something like this for a while now. Pretty much I just put my shoes on, put my headphones in, go out and run, whatever pace feels good. So I'm gonna be more intentional and see if I can make the improvements that I really want to in my VO2 max. But here's what I want you to take away from this. You don't have to guess, you don't have to follow generic fitness advice or follow what ChatGPT tells you to do and just hope that it works. You can actually know what's happening in your body and you can make decisions based on data. But here's the thing, having the data is just one step. Knowing how to use it is step 2, and that's where working with a dietitian comes in. We take your actual numbers and build a nutrition plan around them, not some cookie cutter approach. So this is my baseline, and in 3 to 6 months, I'm gonna retest to see what, if anything, hopefully something, has changed. And I'm gonna document everything, training, nutrition progress, so that I actually know what is working for my body. And yes, this data is gonna go up on my fridge. It's specific, it's measurable, and honestly, I am proud of my muscle mass and my VO2 max. Now, a huge thank you to Deanna at Live Lean RX here in Colorado Springs for walking me through all of this and for being so generous with her time and her expertise. Again, I have linked her website and her socials down in the description below. Check it out, and if you have questions about a DEXA scan, she's got you. Shoot her an email. Now, if you want help taking the next step with nutrition planning, my programs are linked there too. So go get your testing done, get your data, and then actually use it. Stop guessing and stop following generic or AI advice. And if you want a little more inspiration for your health journey, plus practical, doable steps to get started, click the video on your screen right now. I'm walking you through how to get healthy this year for life, and I will see you over there. Until then, eat well, be well, thrive.